So it has been a little bit of a while since I did one of these videos. I need to do an update fairly soon on the current state of things with the journey to 100k. Now at the moment I'm at around about 50 or thereabouts, and it's probably just a little bit more than 50. And actually I was looking through my channel, and a couple of months ago I'm fairly sure that I was on about 40. Now of course I've had a couple of things happen in that time that wouldn't happen in most people's months. I moved house and drew equity out of the house when we moved. By the way, a house move that has come with a slight increase in my monthly outgoings, but of course it's paying into something that I own, an asset. And I have said before that basically when you've got a mortgage on a house, the money that's actually going towards paying off the capital, paying off the principal of the loan itself, is, when it's an appreciating asset like a house, is actually probably a bit of an investment, and therefore what you pay to live there is just the interest. So potentially a way for you guys to rethink things if you basically think of yourself as like renting at the moment. Think of yourself as renting. If you are renting at the moment and you haven't got into buying a house yet because it's too expensive, consider that probably about half of what you pay on your mortgage is actually paying off this appreciating asset. So it's kind of like an investment. The other half is actually what you pay to live there. So if your rent is 700 and a house is going to be 1,000, and by the way, usually rent is much more than paying off a mortgage payment. So really, again, it's just deposit at the start. It's the hard bit. But let's just say that rent is much more, for argument's sake. Rent is just less. So your rent is 700, your house is 1,000. You're probably only paying about £500 to live there. The other £500, you're actually buying chunks of this appreciating asset. So I just can't stress enough right now how I did just when I had to move out just into a rented flat for less than a year at one point, and it was kind of the right thing to do at the time. I just wish I'd spent less time renting, if I'm perfectly honest. Less than fucking 8 months. But I would certainly say to everybody watching this that if you're living with your parents, and you just need to draw out how much money you're making a month, and just realistically see, can I save up? Now, how did I get onto this? Talking about, looking back through my channel, not too long ago I did a video that said that I was up to 40,000. I'm now definitely around 50 off the top of my head, because I think that I've been 40,000. I've done another update video recently that was 47,000. And now I'm fairly sure that I'm at about 50,000. Probably just a little bit over. Now what's happened since? Silver and gold. Silver took a huge shit not too long ago. A lot of people made videos saying that was some sort of conspiracy. It's not. That I think is just the rebalancing of a lot of automatic portfolios that larger investment companies use. I got in and out of that and made like 100 quid, which is absolutely fine. I think that as I've said before in a couple of these videos as well, by the way, FOMO is like the worst thing that you can do. FOMO is you basically forgetting every bit of investor advice that you've ever heard, forgetting every single piece of good advice, in fact, that you've ever taken, and being totally emotional in the moment. And something that is incredibly hard, and is why so many people who are retail traders, normies who go on eToro and try and play the markets, the reason that they lose money is just emotionality. So when it comes down to watching silver and gold go up. Just don't rush into it. Don't FOMO into it. Now, I think I've made a video before, and I've mentioned in a couple of them that I had like 100 ounces of physical silver, and I sold it literally like a couple of weeks before it absolutely shot up. And it, like, you just don't have a crystal ball. You don't have the knowledge that sort of thing is going to happen. So whilst I could feel a bit crap about it, the last thing that I need to do, and that anybody should be doing in that sort of situation, you sold Bitcoin at the bottom, all this sort of stuff, is beating yourself up about it. Looking forward, silver and gold, at the moment, you ought to really look at these sorts of things. As a cable in my face. You ought to look at these sorts of things on a better time frame, right? Now, lots of people will say, oh, silver and gold, if you look at a graph of silver and gold, the price of it has literally gone like that. It's gone parabolic, okay? You need to look at the purpose of silver and gold, much more gold than silver, by the way. The purpose of precious metals is that they hold their value over time. They are famous for not moving a lot over decades, and that's why they're a store of wealth. Now, if you are smart, like me, okay, and you actually did this, you go and find a chart of silver and gold's price adjusted for inflation, and you will actually see that, in fact, the graph goes from here, it goes, and then it has a massive spike, and that was when Nixon closed the gold window, and it goes back down, and then it has another spike. I don't know when that was, I think the 90s, and then it goes back down, and then you go into another spike that it's just had at the moment, and then it goes back down. It's basically always been the same price, except for every like 20, 30 years, okay, there's a supply shock, and the price of it absolutely shoots up. Now, I'm not very good at making predictions. I have like made videos in the past where I've tried to do predictions and stuff like that, and I'm actually like, I'm not going to say I'm usually wrong, but because I've probably made loads of predictions and been right on quite a few, but the ones where I'm wrong are stuck in my head, so I've got like a bias towards thinking that I might be wrong on this. But I would have a look at that graph, and I would say that if you adjust for inflation, now is like a really, really bad time to buy it, because you're basically going to be holding the bag. You're going to be holding, you know, the liquidity for people who are divesting until probably, if the West is still a collection of functioning countries, you're probably going to be holding that bag until like 2050, maybe 2060. Like literally, the prices are way up right now. Everyone's looking at it and going, maybe I should get into it. No, please, please, please. Look at a graph that shows you silver or gold adjusted for inflation. Look at that graph, and then realize that when it goes right back down, which will happen in probably about 5 to 10 years time, okay, it's going to go right back down to being worth about probably 10 or 15 times less than what it is right now. So silver goes right back down to being really undervalued, and then it's going to accumulate there, and then it's going to happen again, in like 2050, 2060, there's going to be something else that just sees the price of physical silver, by the way, go straight up. Now, I'm filming this on the 28th of February. I've seen plenty of videos talking about COMEX defaulting. It's not going to happen. There is so far in the West, we've always had fiat currencies, and we've always had, you know, these, we've always had central banks that are like independent, which just means unaccountable, and all they will do is fiddle something. I promise you, there is not going to be a COMEX default. There is not going to be, you know, the silver community, all you silver bugs rallying and sticking it to the man. There's not that. Like, the elite is a much smaller group than you, but they are incredibly well coordinated. You as the masses, you have the opportunity to be coordinated, but you can't get over, you know, ideological differences, and there's no coordination. Coordination in a small group always wins over a coordinated, an uncoordinated, mass. So that is at the moment what I think about silver and gold. Do not buy it right now. Wait 5 to 10 years. Right now, I personally think that Bitcoin is what you should be accumulating. And I also think as well that you should be putting money, like basically right now, if you've got silver and gold, sell it, like absolutely sell it if you've been holding on to it for any sort of decent amount of time, and you've made, even fucking 5-10%, whatever you've got, sell it. If you've just FOMO'd into silver and gold, I would probably still sell it. If you can get like a tiny little bit of profit, like do it. In fact, maybe if you have to take a tiny loss, I would probably do it as well, because that way you're going to be able to have this capital freed up to invest in Bitcoin, which is about to go up. Like I don't have a crystal ball, but right now all the risk, right? If you look at a graph of what's a risky investment, it's definitely silver and gold right now. The risk there of you losing money is just like everybody is now holding on to it. Okay, it's basically like a bubble. It's like a tulip bubble or something like that. It's a bubble of loads of people now holding on to it, but no one wanting to buy any more. Everyone who has it just wants to hold on to it and see where the price is going. They're not selling. They don't want to panic sell. They don't want to sell out, right? Everyone who has it is not selling, and everyone who wants to buy it is waiting for the price to come down. So at some point soon, you're going to see it's just going to happen again. The price is just going to go down for both silver and gold, and then that's it. Okay, Bitcoin, on the other hand, we're in an accumulation phase for that. Is the bottom in on the bear market? You can never say. I would like to say that historically, was showing signs of that, and this is stuff that I've watched and been convinced of, like other videos that I've watched and been convinced of, and I'd recommend On-Chain Mind. He makes some really good content. But right now it's kind of in an accumulation phase, and we're potentially at the bottom now. At the end of this year, I have talked an awful lot about the possibility of a stock market crash. That would be an event that drops Bitcoin below where it's at the moment. It's kind of bottoming around about the 48 to 50 mark. With a stock market crash, Bitcoin just simply tends to follow the rest of the stock market. So yes, it could drop even further. Brilliant. I am hanging around for when Bitcoin is always I am hanging around for the future in which Bitcoin, literally, it's a miracle if it would drop into 6 figures. The Bitcoin is something you want to pass on to your kids. It is. I get that it's volatile, but it's not risky. There is a difference between risk and volatility. Right now it's volatile because it's new, but risk-wise, I would simply say just get your time horizon set at 50 plus years for that stuff. That is the best way I can sum it up. And that's how long I'm holding on for. So if I see it drop into 12 grand, if I see it drop less, I am fucking scooping up as much of that as I possibly can, and likewise as well, I'm currently stocking away money for stock market crash at the end of this year. I think that something like that does stand a fairly good chance of just again, viewed from quite a long-term perspective, you could probably, every time you get a stock market crash and things go down by 40%, which I think is the definition for an actual crash rather than just a correction, but an actually bad crash. Every time you get something like that, we've come out of it within a year, within a year and a half, and that is just the bit that you need to be prepared for. Literally just to hold on for a year of pain. Imagine being able to double your money, and all you have to do is sit on your hands through a year of pain. And not particularly bad pain as well. Not this your day-to-day life. If you're in a first world country, the sort of pain that you have to go through is probably the day-to-day life that you would have if you picked up sticks and moved to a country that's like, it's got about half your GDP, like Japan or Italy, if you were moving out of America, okay? Or if you were moving to South America from a first world country like the United Kingdom. That's really, it's going to be a bit tough for a bit, but just keep socking away cash in high yield accounts, cash ISAs, putting it as into your stocks and shares ISA, but not actually buying any stocks and shares yet. And please, like, I'm not going to tell you to hold off on buying like, genuinely good stocks. Like, obviously, I'm telling you this. I also have a stock portfolio, and I'm not like divesting out of all of them. At the end of the day, time in the market is going to be timing the market, and what I'm telling you right now is a kind of mix of both. But there is going to be a good stock market crash, and just hanging on for the end of this year, start of next, will set some of you guys up for a long time. I'm not going to say it's going to set you up for life, but right now I think that I'm around about 50k. I think it's potentially reasonable that if I play my cards right on this stock market crash, I could go from 50k to like 75k by the end of 2027, or even by the end of 2028 perhaps, and potentially be at 100k like before halfway through 2028. Like I think that sort of, these time frames just become reasonable when you have stock market crashes and just investing into what the hot shit is. When I say hot shit, I mean good fundamentals, not hype. Tesla. So that is where I'm at the moment. Now, just to cap this video off, since I last made a video, there has been the absolutely meteor. There's been this comet strike the Western world with the launch of Restore Britain. Restore Britain, a party started by once Reform MP Rupert Lowe. And these guys are basically all the red meat that we thought in the United Kingdom, that we thought we would be getting from Reform UK. Restore Britain are, Rupert Lowe is the genuine article. He is the guy. He is our guy. Nigel Farage is showing himself to not be our guy. Nigel Farage is showing himself to essentially be, he's there to keep it seems like he's there to just rebuild the Conservative Party now, and that is a disgraceful mission, and one that we cannot allow to be carried out. Reform at one point were hitting around about 30% in the polls, and now they've really sort of fallen from grace. They should be on 40, and now they're sort of in the mid to low 20s. They've just lost a really important by-election as well in Manchester, and I think that, given the demographics of that place, I think that was potentially always going to happen. Except, I honestly don't know. Like, the Greens won in Gorton and Denton by like 4,300 votes, which is a lot. That is, the Greens were at 14,000 votes, almost 15,000 total, and Reform UK were at around about 10,500 total. So the idea of being able to add 50% to your vote share, I mean, some people say, oh, that's ridiculous. Well, just keep in mind that basically in this country, when the left go between a couple of different parties, and the left-wing party that wins tends to be the one that appeals to the centre and starts to carve out votes from wet Tories, blue Labour, and the Liberal Democrats. The right-wing parties, okay? Now, when the right-wing parties win, and I think that you've seen this with Trump, the right to win just need to go harder on the right and not appeal to the centre. Appealing to the centre is a losing strategy, and what happens, and you've seen this with the Conservatives in the election just gone, I think you're seeing this now with the bleed out from Reform UK and their centrist focus. That's losing them support, and it's allowed Restore to come along at exactly the right time. So Restore Britain their star is rising right now, I feel. Reform UK, they should, like, if they were playing their cards right, not allowing in all these conservatives and alienating the North, who are a lot of, like, disillusioned Labour voters. Like, they will never vote for conservatives. So to bring a lot of conservatives into your party and then say to all these people in the North, yeah, we're not going to fuck you over, but here's a bunch of conservatives who fucked you over in the past. Ridiculous strategy. Nigel, what the fuck? So, Nigel Farage is not going to be our next Prime Minister. Unless I want to say, unless he does some, like, ridiculous U-turn on all this stuff. But even then, I think we've seen the mask slip. And in fact, this like, for him to do an amazing U-turn would be, he'd have to have some sort of road to Damascus moment. And I really don't know what would do that. And as well, how me and this now, like, large part of the British public that are looking at Rupert Lowe and saying that's what I want, how we could potentially now abandon Rupert and go back to Nigel. I just don't feel like we could do that. I think that Restore Britain's objectives and their leadership are genuine. I don't think that you're going to get that out of Reform UK anymore. I think that Restore Britain are going to I think that they could win as well, and this is the thing. Like, they are the genuine article. They are going, like, if they win, they deliver. We have one shot, basically, with Rupert Lowe, and we need to fucking take it. We absolutely need to do this. Like, this. Even if the chance is 10%, even if the chance is smaller than that, we absolutely need to take it. Otherwise, the United Kingdom will go completely under the control of an absolutely insane left-wing government, which would be dominated by the Greens. It would be the arse end of the Labour Party, and then you'd have the Liberal Democrats in there as well, who are, for all intents and purposes, just they're not a serious party. They are, for lack of a better term, they're almost like a protest vote for people who just don't want to talk about politics at the dinner table. Like, that's kind of their niche. That's their, like, audience. And Restore Britain, I think that they have the potential to tap into the disillusioned masses. Does that mean that, the 50% of the country that aren't voting now, does that mean that they immediately start voting and we get absolutely, we get in with a fucking no holds barred super majority because everyone who's never voted before now votes? No. But let's just say that you're able to increase the amount of people voting by like 10%, and the majority of them are saying, I'm going to vote for Restore because they're the only people that I feel are genuine. Like, holy shit, would you change the landscape? You would absolutely dominate. It doesn't need to be large numbers. You're going to see more defections from Reform. You're going to see Restore Britain just basically bringing up their vote share from defections in the Conservatives, the SDP, everyone that Rupert Lowe mentioned in that On the Farm video. You're going to see those defections, but you're also going to see a sort of activation of disillusioned voters, I think, people that just don't, I've never really voted before, and the way to get that activation is to go out and speak to them. Now, that's what you need to do.